Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lair of the Phoenix. I'm James Phoenix, and tonight we're going to talk about a great movie that I really enjoyed that's had a recent threequel in theaters, and that is Night at the
Threequel.
Museum.
You mean a trilogy?
No, I mean the third movie is the threequel. The overall three together collectively are a trilogy.
Is that even a real word, though, threequel?
I think so.
It's more of a word than
I think you made
squeakle.
it up.
I was just going to say it's better than squeakquel, yeah.
I think you made that up.
Well, I didn't make it up. Somebody may have made it up, but it wasn't me.
That's fair enough.
Anyway.
And joining him.
Yes, and joining me over there from the Mole is Chris, aka the Mole.
Hello, pleasure to be here on Lair of the Phoenix. I am Chriz, aka the Phoenix.
Ha!
And now over to Anastasia, Laser Phoenix.
Oh, God.
If only there was
Yes,
more people, so we could have just Phoenixes, everyone.
That'd be funny. And yes, over there from the Gaming Grotto, with her brand new snow white hair, Anastasia Lazerbeam.
Hey.
Stop watching TV in the middle of my review.
You're so boring.
Also, I would also like to point out that's not Snow White hair, Jim. That is Mary Margaret hair, which is Snow White once she forgets who she is.
Okay, fair enough.
God, you noob.
Oh. No one asked you.
I know, but I was doing what you do. But better, because it was in a British accent.
Okay then. So, we're here to talk about the 2006 film Night at the Museum, starring Ben Stiller, as well as Dick Van Dyke, Mickey Rooney, Robin Williams, and a slew of other people. The film focuses on Ben Stiller's character, whose name is a gentleman by the name of Larry Daly, who, after basically being a failure at most of life, and a disappointment to his son, whose mother he is in the process of getting divorced from, or he is already divorced from, I believe, he proceeds to get a job working as a night guard at the Museum of Natural History in New York. Upon doing so, he is told by the previous night guard, his boss, who is retiring, played by Dick Van Dyke, that he will have to follow a specific set of instructions at night in order to take care of the museum, which he finds confusing until his first night on the job, when he discovers that an ancient Egyptian tablet known as the Tablet of Akhmet-Ra actually brings all the museum exhibits to life at night. Larry proceeds to go through the craziness of trying to deal with this, attempting to follow the instructions, which include locking up certain exhibits, how to handle certain out-of-control exhibits that don't know what the modern world is, like Attila the Hun and his group, a large T-Rex skeleton that runs around, things of that nature.
Which I will say, this film was very ahead of its time, because it's very modern day to find a tablet with some sort of app that brings things to life. That was very ahead of its time.
Oh, it was very much. Even more so when you consider that tablet was created a few thousand years ago.
Actually, I think it's more than a few.
Okay, fair enough.
It was 2.
No, I think it was a lot more than that. But anyway. So Larry proceeds to meet a variety of people in the museum, including the wax statue of Theodore Roosevelt, played by Robin Williams, a capuchin monkey named Dexter, the aforementioned Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton named Rexy, the large Easter Island Moai head, voiced by Brad Garrett, as well as various other also Jedediah.
How did the Easter Island head get above Owen Wilson and whoever Octavius was?
How did the Easter Island head get above Sacagawea, who was the love interest of the film and was really well done?
Don't blame me. I'm going with the order they were introduced in the movie.
Fair enough.
Although I did inadvertently skip to Easter Island over Jedediah and Octavius. I apologize for that. The tiny Old West cowboy from the miniature set of the Old West, played by Jedediah, played by Owen Wilson, and the miniature Roman general Octavius, played by Steve Coogan, from the miniature Roman civilization miniature set. Eventually, over the course of the film, in order to try to help figure out what's going on, Larry also releases the Pharaoh Achamen-Ra himself, owner of the tablet, who is portrayed by, I can never remember this actor's name. Hang on, it's here somewhere. I can never remember the Pharaoh actor's name, but he's done a lot of other good stuff. I can never remember the dude's name because I haven't seen him personally. Where's that dude's name? Where is he? Rami Malek. There we go. Rami Malek as Achamen-Ra the Pharaoh, who explains to him that the tablet is magic and that it brings the things to life. And over the course of time, of a few evenings, Larry starts to realize that the exhibits are not so bad. They just don't understand what's going on, and they're a little out of control because they've been coming to life since the 1950s when the tablet was first moved to the museum after an exhibition, after it was discovered in Egypt. But nobody's ever really taught the exhibits how to be alive. And so, with the help of the what is her? She's a I don't remember the character. She was a character studying Sacagawea. She was a student writing a dissertation on it, played by Carla Gugino. And they proceed to bring order to the museum at night by having exhibits learn to coexist and learn to not run amok and enjoy the fact that they are alive, which is fun. While at the same time, thwarting the evil plan of former Night Guard Dick Van Dyke and his cohorts, Mickey Rooney and Bill Cobbs, who have realized. No, it's not Mickey Rooney.
Rest in peace.
I thought it was Mickey Rourke.
No, Mickey Rooney.
I said when I watched it before. My bad.
No, Mickey Rooney's a short, little, bald, old dude. Mickey Rourke is a old dude who is not bald and is kind of crazy. Anyway, so the three elder guards have realized that the tablet not only brings the museum exhibits to life, but also restores some equivalent of their youth at night as well. Physically, they appear the same, but they're able to basically run around and move as if they were 20-year-olds. And they like this fact, and so they have hatched a plan to steal the tablet from the museum and go off to some tropical locale where they can effectively, at least at night anyway, be young and bang hot women and live happily for the rest of their lives.
Those women better be blind.
Yeah, pretty much. But anywho, so they, he proceeds to thwart this while at the same time trying to protect the museum exhibits themselves, because as is established, if the exhibits are outside the museum when the sun rises, they will turn to dust. I don't know why.
To dust.
Because magic, I guess.
Because everything the light touches is our kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But what about that shadowy place?
That was the
God
museum.
damn it! What the fuck did I just say?
I don't know. What the fuck did you just say?
Or, how about this, Jim? The reason that the daylight affects them is because it's called night at the museum, not day at the museum.
Right, I know. That just seems like it just seems a little contrived. All I'm saying.
So does the evil tablet that brings things to life with the exact personalities they had before they died. Even though
in all fairness,
based upon them.
In all fairness, nobody said the tablet was evil. But anyway. It's just a magical tablet. But anyway, after over the course of time, Larry is also fired from the museum because as the exhibits come to life each night and his inability to control them because he's new leads to damage to the exhibits, including what most specifically the exhibit of Attila the Hun.
Down, so what?
Yeah, the cavemen and Attila the Huns, and effectively his Larry's boss, Dr. McPhee, played wonderfully by Ricky Gervais, tries to fire him. But Dr. McPhee fires him because he sees news reports about the strange events around the museum. But when the exhibits escaped, they also ran all over the city, doing things that they wouldn't do if they were the real things. Like the cavemen put cave paintings in the subway station. There were dinosaur footprints all over Central Park, and sightings of other exhibits around the city. However, these things actually have the reverse of what you would think, and that people are amazed by these cool things, and they go to the museum to find out more about what they are, bringing in more attendance than the museum has had in a very, very long time. Which leads to Ricky Gervais hiring Ben Stiller back to be the night guard, because the people too generally believe that the entire thing was set up at night for everybody to find as a publicity stunt for the museum, and it worked. So Larry takes over as the night guard and arranges a nighttime dance party as the exhibits all get along. And during the credits, we see the three old guys are relegated to being janitors.
Yep.
So overall, it's a really fun movie. And I didn't mention, there is the subplot of the Sacagawea statue as well, who Theodore Roosevelt has fallen in love with, but doesn't know how to approach and how to, how to talk to her. Played by Mizuho Peck is Sacagawea, and eventually they managed to hit it off as well.
You can't hear behind the glass.
That too. Although foreshadowing, there is the funny joke in the third movie where they're still they're together, and Theodore Roosevelt makes a comment to Larry and says something about, "Who would have thought? I wax, she's polyurethane." But anyway, so overall, this first movie was really good. It should be mentioned that this movie is actually based on a picture book of the same name, entitled Night at the Museum. However, the night guard in that book his name was Hector. He wasn't Larry. He was Hector.
I'm glad to change that. Ugh.
Yeah, we can't have minority starring in movies.
Oh, I just don't want any remnants of other people named Hector.
Okay then. Anyway. So, effectively, the job in the book, the guard's job was to keep the world outside safe from the dinosaurs inside, and rather than keeping the museum safe from the world outside, which it is in the movie. They kind of switch a little bit. The film was written by Robert Ben Garant and Thomas Lennon, who you might know as two of the main characters on Comedy Central's show Reno 911, and also from MTV's The State. And
who do they play on
and
Reno
directed
911?
Robert Ben Garant is the guy with the mustache and the sunglasses. I can never remember that character's name.
Okay, the guy with the short shorts.
You?
No, not that.
You mean Dangle?
No, Dangle is Thomas Lennon. He's the other guy. Robert Ben Garant is the dude with the dark glasses and the dark hair and the mustache.
Oh, like the Spanish one.
Yeah, the Hispanic. No, that's Carlos Ozaraki is the Spanish guy, but he might be kind of Spanish too. I'm not sure.
Well, they called him Garcia in the show.
Yes, you're right. I think he is Garcia. Let me check. Does it say his character's name here?
Yeah. It's the gray-haired dude.
Yeah, it doesn't actually mention his character's name. No, the gray-haired dude, that's Carlos Ozaraki. He's Garcia, and not a different dude. Let me see here. Does it say who are the characters' names? Okay, Robert Ben Garant, Deputy Travis Jr.
Okay.
So Dangle and Jr. Anyway, they wrote the movie, and in fact, they've written all three of the movies in this trilogy. And they were all directed and produced by Sean Levy. Chris Columbus and Michael Barthanon also had a hand for 1492 Pictures. So overall, the movie is a lot of... The hell?
One of my laptop stand legs just collapsed.
Professionalism, people.
I need a new one. This one's like 4 years old.
I will just make the comment. Are we still on the brief recap?
Yes.
And I'm using air quotes for brief, but okay.
I know. I was also going to make background details on the people in the movie. Calm down.
Yeah, but I thought that would be under cast.
It will be. We're going to get there. I was just mentioning who they were so when we discuss if people know who we're talking about. So, first of all, what do you guys think about the overall plot of the movie? It's a fairly straightforward plot, and it is a fun concept to think about, especially if you're a history buff or a mythology buff of any kind. It's a lot of fun. What do you guys think?
It was
alright.
It was okay. It was basically Toy Story of capturing that part of your imagination when you go into a museum and you see all the stuff. Like, oh my god, imagine if all of this was alive and stuff like that. Cool. But without the actual heart of Toy Story of, we don't really need magic to explain all this. This is just happens in the world. The second they added magic and the tablet and the rules and like, oh yeah, they can't go outside at daytime, and yet they have the personalities of the people these statues were made to look like. It's like it becomes a little convoluted and ruins the magic, ironically, of the whole. Oh my god, they just come alive. That'd be brilliant. if it was just a world where all exhibits were alive, like Toy Story is a world where all toys come alive, that's 1,000 times better. But as it was, the story wasn't too bad. I enjoyed the journey it takes you on. It does tap into a good part of the imagination and stuff. I just feel that the magic rules and some other stuff kind of limited what they did. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that's fair. I can understand that. It does make sense, but I think the problem was they made the assumption that a movie-going audience would like to know exactly how this is happening, and that they might have trouble suspending disbelief without a reason of, oh, this is a magic thing that makes it happen. Okay, we can go with that. And also, they needed a plot for a reason for there to be a bad guys in the movie, because in the book, as mentioned, there weren't really bad guys. It was just keep the dinosaurs in museums so they don't go out and eat people. So.
Well,
Yeah,
also they're
but based
keeping
on the
the people
fact-
stealing the tablet, making everybody die, and making the old people become rich.
Yeah, based on the fact these people don't know who they are, if assuming we were just going by the Toy Story logic of toys happen to come alive when no one's around or at certain times or whatever, they could have easily made like the Ricky Gervais character the bad guy because he could have been exploiting these exhibits, or they could have made an evil exhibit the bad guy. There's a lot of ways to go with who the bad guy is.
In fact, they went with the evil exhibit thing in the next two movies. But yeah.
Yeah, which part of me is like, you know what I mean? I just feel, while I like stuff explained to me in films, it's one of those, if you explain it and you add crappy rules that suddenly make me ask more questions, I would rather you just say, this is a world in which museums all come alive, and you can just introduce Ben Stiller, and as they're passing the torch over, the guard could just warn him, hey, you know, at night time, yeah, stuff comes alive at the museum.
But,
Well, in all fairness, that was kind of how the movie started. It wasn't until later in the movie when Theodore Roosevelt actually told him it had something to do with the Egypt exhibit, and then he found the tablet, and he opened the sarcophagus and woke Ahmed Ra, who explained the whole thing.
To be fair, we kind of figured out early on because they highlighted the tablet, showed the tablet, and explained it within the opening credits.
Trust me, when we get to the next whole movie, there's going to be some discussion about this tablet and the rules surrounding this tablet that are inconsistent as all hell.
Yeah, which I don't know if you agreed or not, though. It would have been better if they'd gone Toy Story approach, because I like the idea of, because I myself as a kid imagined toys coming alive. I myself as a kid, when I went to see the museum, totally imagined, oh my god, this could be a real caveman. Oh my god, this could be a real spaceship I'm seeing. Or this could be real. And I kind of feel the film should have done that. But
fair enough.
But it was still a fun, like I said, it was still a fun journey, and it was pretty good. I liked the story overall.
That's fair enough. I can understand that. Yeah, it's just one of those things, and that would have been interesting to make the Ricky Gervais character the villain. That would have been an interesting concept rather than just a minor annoyance. Having him actually villain would have been interesting to see how that played out. Although I don't know how effective that would be, because I think we already pretty well established that he's barely good as a number 2 villain.
Nice, you're making a Muppets effort, but I would also make a case of we totally know he can play.
Although it is incredibly funny to see him in a lemur suit.
Yep, or I would make the case of we can totally see him as an obnoxious, evil, almost void of all sort of goodness when it comes to being a boss. Because The Office done right.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's a case of I say that character didn't even have to be him cast, but it was just that character exploiting these exhibits. Then Ben Stiller's character could have bonded with him more, and you would have got more of a heart to it. Because these are people that up until Ben Stiller arrived had been exploited and held captive or tortured or whatever the fuck you want to go with, and that would have been fun.
He's torturing them. He's like fucking jack us away or something, and like.
Well, if he knows they're alive and he, like, I don't know, nails down the skeleton's feet of the dinosaur or something like that, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that would make him a dick without being outright evil per se. Like, I'm going to keep these exhibits. I know they come to life, but I need to keep them here so my museum works in the morning and I make money or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about you? You kind of quiet. What do you think of the plot?
I think it's okay. I would have liked Ricky Gervais to be in it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought, what's her face? The not romance between Larry and Sacagawea chick was like, it's cool, but like whatever.
Yeah, which
I
they
just feel
never
like
follow up, which they don't follow
yeah,
up on
there's just
for
a
a
lot of
second
things that
after
are there that they don't follow up with and relatively have no insignificance. Because
Yeah.
they could have just skipped that and go straight to him Wikipediaing everything and
Yeah, I would have much rather they kept the romance, because that would have been great. Of two people from two very different worlds, one of which is real, one of which is fake, actually getting together and stuff. It'd be weird, but it would be fun and something kind of unique. Because we haven't seen anyone date someone that's that fake and plasticky since Paris and thingy Pamela Anderson's last marriage.
Huh.
Which is funny, but you're misunderstanding, Mole. She's not talking about that. She's talking about the chick who was studying Sacagaway and writing a paper on her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
but
the
like I said,
Sacagaway herself. But yeah.
yeah, but like I said, at first, when Ben Stiller first bumps into her, and he's like, "Who are you?" and he looks at her amazed, that would have been a great way of going. I would have loved to see that as a romance.
That would have been good, yeah.
Because he would be teaching her about the modern world, obviously, because she has the personality of someone she was sculpted at because fuck it, magic. And basically, she would have been teaching him about the museum. That would have worked brilliantly.
That would have been interesting. You're all right. Fair enough. So about the individual exhibits and the characters in here, what do we think? Which ones are good? Which ones are bad? Which ones could have been cast
Fuck the
otherwise?
monkey.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fuck the monkey. Okay. I think that's an agreement.
I hate the monkey.
The only two that were bad was the monkey and the Easter Island head.
I agree. Those are both terrible.
But dum need gum.
The only time an Easter Island head is fun is if a boring, annoying squid happens to live in it next door to a pineapple. That's the only time an Easter Island head is good.
Basically, if Jim lives in a Easter Island head.
No, Jim's not Squidward. But no, it's
he knows.
Yeah, I was kidding with the with the head. But yeah, I didn't like the head and I didn't like the monkey. However, the rest of them were good for what the movie was. But I also feel they've wasted a lot of potential with some of their casting. Like Owen Wilson as the cowboy, like I mentioned, he didn't seem like a cowboy. He seemed like he was supposed to have the personality of a cowboy from back then, but yet he acted exactly like Owen Wilson in any of his films now. And I was like, I felt a little off to me. Also, Robin Williams did a great job with the script he was given. He did a fantastic job in that role. But I feel because of how important and commanding that guy was supposed to be, it should have been Kelsey Grammer. Or someone along those lines. Kelsey Grammer would have pulled that off so expertly that it would have been brilliant. Or at least that's my opinion with that. But a few of them just felt like of the casting choices just felt like I don't like Dick Van Dyke as a bad guy. It was kind of fun to see him as a bad guy for once, but even he's a bad guy, when he smiles, you're like, it's Dick Van Dyke. I can't hate him. He just has a nice, friendly smile to him. He's like Santa Claus. He's the embodiment of Santa Claus. But and when it comes to Ben Stiller, I'm not going to knock the guy. I like the actor. I like him as a guy and stuff. When I've seen him speak and stuff, he seems really good and sophisticated and stuff like that. I just don't like him as a really nice everyman. I feel he's always best when he's the complete asshole. Like in Dodgeball. When he's putting on his shiny shoes. You know what I mean? I prefer that Ben Stiller. This one, whenever I see him, like, just because of his face and certain stuff he does, he always seems like he's slimy or he's got some sort of hidden agenda when he doesn't. Which means he's really great at the assholes. He's not that good as an everyday dude. Which I argued is like 80s Bill Murray or early 80s, like 80s, 90s Bill Murray. I want to see him as Peter Venkman, or I want to see him as Scrooge, the way he was in Scrooge. I don't want to see him as Mr. Friendly like he was at the end of Scrooge, unless it's some sort of part of the movie, like suddenly like a twist at the end or something. You know what I mean?
So you didn't like him in like Groundhog Day or something?
To be fair, he was nice in Groundhog Day, but he was a douche. He started in the film as an asshole. The first thing he does when he learns in Groundhog Day that he's repeating time is he does stuff like he gets the dude that annoys him to step in a fucking puddle. he uses it for evil for the first part, and then he slowly becomes nice as the movie progresses. That's kind of his strong point early on.
You
Nowadays,
could argue that he excessively stalks his girlfriend until he figures out exactly the right things to say to her.
exactly. Which right now, nowadays, he's good in everything he's in because he's learned and stuff. But it's more of a case of, you know what I mean? It's just that type of actor.
Mm-hmm.
But at least that's my opinion with Ben Stiller and all the other ones cast. I will say some of them were spot on. Like, I loved the chick playing Sacagawea. I'm like, that's perfect. When I think like a Native American, that's exactly what I think.
Indeed, she did a great job in that role.
What I don't think is the great Callie in a dress. I'm looking at you, Neverland.
What?
I'm sorry, that might be a little harsh. In that mini-series they did with Neverland, the like Peter Pan prequel, yeah, Tiger Lily and that looked like the great Callie in a dress. It's weird. Only in certain lighting.
Yeah, is that the one where it turns out that like Peter Pan was in an orphanage and like Hook ran the orphanage and they both got sucked into Neverland at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
What the fuck? That just sounds weird.
It sounds weird, but
yeah, they all ended up at Neverland at the same time, and then Hook ended up hanging out with the chick who was the head of the pirates at the time, and Peter Pan joined the Lost Boys, and they were respected rivals and enemies because they cared about each other a lot, but they ended up having different opinions, and that's what ended up being the enemies.
yeah,
sort of.
yeah, and you can see them you could see that moment where they declare themselves enemies. It wasn't a bad series. It was a great series. I just didn't like Tiger Lily in it. But yeah, I loved Sacagawea in this. I thought she was great.
It could have been worse. It could be the Mary Martin musical production from the 50s where Tiger Lily had long blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah, but that's from the 50s. The 50s isn't exactly known for its racial diversity, if you know what I mean. I mean, if this was the 50s now, you'd get someone like Matt Damon as the star of Roots.
Okay, then.
Exactly. I'm glad we live in a multicultural society and stuff like that, the way it works. And I like Sacagawea, the way she was played. I loved her. And some of the other ones were great, like the one playing Attila the Hun. He was great. Or Genghis Khan. I think they may be the same person, but still.
They're not.
They are now. But yeah.
No, they're not. You can't just amend history because you feel like it.
It's his alias whenever he jumped in a phone box, but shush. It's
what?
Fucking Doctor Who.
Okay, then.
Genghis Khan would enter a phone box, and then he'd emerge as Genghis Khan. Like a Superman Clark Kent situation. That's the way this worked. That's how history worked. You should brush up on it.
Except that you just said Genghis Khan both times. You just...
Okay, it's hell of a Hun. Enters and comes out as Genghis Khan. There we go. But still, it works. But yes.
No, it doesn't.
He was cast brilliantly. Which I like that. And most of the smaller parts were cast great.
Fair enough. What about you, Pew? What do you think of the general casting of the movie?
I really like this. I really like the guy who played the Pharaoh. Super cute, great actor. You know.
Rami Malek. Yep.
Yeah, he was fun. I liked the guy who played Christopher Columbus, even though he had a really small role.
Yeah.
And I really liked him.
Yep.
Yeah. Hated that monkey.
Yeah, the monkey. Unfortunately, that persists through all the movies. The monkey is just there to make pee jokes. That's his entire role.
He just pisses on things.
Yeah. However, I will say they did a great job using him to tug your emotions at the end of the third movie. We'll get there.
Oh, fuck him. I was like gonna die. I didn't give a shit.
I will say I don't like the monkey, but I know because it's a family film, he's the character that the kids are gonna like.
Haha, it's fun to piss on people. Haha.
Well, to be fair, it kind of is. Some people are into that. There's whole fetish boards based just on that. But it's a case of with the monkey itself, he's there to amuse the kids, and he doesn't look bad. And the monkey acts great. I can't believe I'm going to have to say that. It's like when I watch The Mask, I'm like, oh my god, that's such a clever dog when he's jumping up at the window and stuff. But who also went on to star in Frasier as Eddie. But yeah, it's a case
Really?
of...
So, like...
Yep, that's a fun
That was
fact.
the same. I didn't know that was the same dog.
Yeah, he was the first Eddie, because midway through Frasier he did die, sadly, and they replaced the dog and it wasn't quite the same, and Eddie started to do less tricks.
Aw.
But they replaced him with they replaced him with the dog's real life son, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That's true, and I also know that one of the few things that was good about it was, in the sake of continuity, when they made Son of the Mask, and the new family also had a similar dog. That was Eddie's grandson.
Yeah, which I'm like, that's kind of cool. But yeah, I was saying the monkey did a good job as the monkey. I just hated the character. It was like it was an annoying to me, but I can totally see kids watching being like, I like that monkey. Because to be fair, as a kid, I liked seeing a monkey.
Yeah, I also liked, friend Jedediah and Octavius. They were fun.
Mm. Yeah, in credit to Owen Wilson, your point is valid, Mole. That Owen Wilson doesn't seem like a cowboy from back then at all. He just seems like a regular dude from today. But at the same time, his chemistry with Steve Coogan is amazing.
Oh, it is. It is amazing. I did like that, but I didn't like either one of those two in their role, if that makes sense.
True. They made no sense in their role, but they were just hilarious together.
They were.
That was good. Yeah, overall, I agree. I generally enjoyed the casting of the film. I thought most of the people in the film were very good in their roles. Some of them I didn't know before this. The guy who played the Pharaoh and Sacagawea, I didn't know either of those two actors beforehand. A few of those. I didn't really know Steve Coogan before it either. So just that was good because him and Owen Wilson was hilarious together. Ben Stiller. Robin. What's that?
But he's Alan Partridge.
Huh. Oh, I'm aware it's his character. I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not a joke either. I really like that character.
Fair enough. Yeah, I hear Alan Partridge is very popular. I've never seen anything from that character, but I hear it's funny. I'll be honest with you. When I saw the movie, Robin Williams was the main draw for me because he's always been one of my favorite actors. So that was kind of draw. Oh, look, Robin Williams is playing Theodore Roosevelt. That's amazing. I want to see that. So that was kind of the draw for me for the first movie. But what he was given, I thought he did a great job. And one of the things I do give credit to Robin Williams for is that, yes, he might not have had the gruff, commanding presence of Theodore Roosevelt, but at the same time, even he admits at one point in this movie here that when Lyra's trying to talk him up and say, "You got to talk to Sacagawea, you could do this. You led your Rough Riders up this mountain and fought these bad guys off, and you were the president, and you did this and that and the other thing," and he kind of looks just kind of sad and he just goes, "No, Larry. Theodore Roosevelt did those things. I was made in a wax factory up the Hudson River in Poughkeepsie."
Yeah, which goes into
that's so sad.
Which goes into the bullshit thing I said of why are they meant to have the same personalities? However, you'll notice as well, I love Ricky Gervais. I didn't put him as either crap or great in this role, just because they didn't use him enough, which is, I'm going to call it a little bullshit or a little bit of a missed beat. Because even if you don't like Ricky Gervais, or even if you do, around the time this came out, it was hot off the tails of stuff like The Office and Extras and a whole bunch of other stuff. He was shit hot. To underuse him like this is just...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, even if you don't like him, I could totally see using him.
Oh, yeah, totally. I agree. I will tell you, I know you haven't seen it yet, Mo, but I will say, they kind of do bring it around, and Ricky Gervais' character does get more screen time and gets a nice rounding to his character arc in the third movie.
Which is great. Which is great, but I wouldn't make the case. I like Ricky Gervais. He's not shit hot anymore. That was him when he was shit hot and everyone wanted to use him, and you had him in your film and you do nothing with him.
Now he's reduced to wearing a lemur suit and playing second fiddle to a goddamn frog.
Yeah, that's basically like casting Johnny Depp right after Pirates of the Caribbean and only using him in like a scene.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But like I said, while we disagreed with the Robin Williams thing, I honestly think he was great in the film. Like I said, with the script he was given, he was great. He was really likable. I just really wanted like Frasier, like Kelsey Grammer. I wanted his voice or Patrick Stewart, someone along that chemistry for this big commander.
Yeah, I can understand why. I think the reason, though, I will say, I think one of the reasons that Robin Williams works so well in the role is that, yeah, Kelsey Grammer's a great actor. Patrick Stewart is a great actor, especially, it's hard for me to say this in the name of Patrick, comparing to Patrick Stewart. But the thing about Robin Williams is one thing Robin Williams has that ability to do is he has that ability to say a line just so gently with that twinkle in his eye, and your heart just fucking melts. Like, it's
I
just,
would,
oh, it's
I would
Robin
say so
Williams.
does Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer could do it too, but I think Robin Williams has done it more frequently. So, because Kelsey Grammer, Kelsey Grammer does that too, but not in as many roles as Robin Williams has done it.
Yeah, he hasn't done it in as many roles, but I will say one of the few times I've actually been choked up watching TV. Last episode of Frasier, he gives this speech saying farewell to his fans on the radio because he's moving to a different city and it's ending the series. But you know the way he's doing it, he's addressing each and every one of us, and it has that warmth, it has that emotion behind it that actually made me feel when I'm watching it, and it makes the finals that much more enjoyable. But yeah, I do like Robin Williams in this role. Though. He did do a great job. I'm not insulting the dude for that. He did do a great job. I just kind of thought they could have gone a different route.
Yeah, which I understand. Yes, I just always like Robin Williams in that kind of a role where he can both be funny but also give that like emotional touch to it. It's like, and like I said, I'll be honest, I haven't actually seen this movie, although I really want to see this movie because I keep seeing clips of it and it looks great. But it's like that feeling whenever I see clips from Dead Poets Society, and he's just sitting there talking to the students, and you just feel that warmth and emotion that he's just exuding as he's talking about this. It's just so great.
You need to see Dead Poets Society. It is brilliant.
It is.
It looks brilliant.
I mean, you already know what happened. I will just say there is one part of that which just makes me say, "What the fuck?"
Okay.
But I'm not going to say what it is. We'll get to that later.
Fair enough. But anyway, we're wrapping this up here. Yeah, so final thoughts on Night at the Museum overall. We talked about the plot, the characters. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Any opinions on the effects, like for the T-Rex and the island head, or any questions on the cinematography, the direction, anything like that?
They look
for the
good.
time of 2006, it looked great. It looked fantastic. Yeah, so watching it now, it does look slightly outdated, but at the time, it didn't look outdated at all. It still holds up when you watch it now enough that it's enjoyable, and yeah, it was a pretty good film.
Fair enough.
Some flaws, but a pretty good film.
Alrighty. Well, I'm glad to hear it. So overall, ratings. Anybody want to rate this movie? Mold? Did you want to give it a rent, watch, or whatever? Or?
I'd give it a rent.
I'd give it, on my scale of buy, rent, avoid, or something, I'd probably go with buy, because you kind of need to see it. It's a film that's not bad enough to say, check it out for yourself. It's not, but it's not so shit to say avoid it completely. It's definitely worth a buy. Just don't go in buying it expecting it to be the greatest family film of all time, but it's definitely worth a purchase, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Because on Amazon.co.uk, you can buy both films in a box set on DVD for £5.
Well, there you go.
I say both because the third one's not out yet.
Right, and of course, as of this recording, the third film is still in many theaters, having just come out last month, so you can still go check it out. I'm sure there's some last chance theaters that are holding it longer than that, so do go check it out if you get a chance. And check it out on DVD when it comes out. I think the second movie, which we're going to get to next week, there's going to be some issues discussed with that movie. But overall, I would say that. Yep.
Although I will say the second one also did some stuff better.
Okay.
Like, I absolutely loved the female lead, the pilot. I loved her in the second one.
Amy Adams did do a good job. Yes, I will give you that. And she's never followed up on again. But anyway.
Nope. Neither is her human counterpart.
Nope.
The second film where it took Ben Stiller one movie to defeat Gargamel, the Smurfs couldn't even do that in 2.
Yep. Pretty much.
There's a fun reference for people.
That's a good reference.
The Smurfs couldn't do a lot of things, like make me sit through an enjoyable movie, or make me laugh, or make me not regret wasting my money.
Well, they're still trying. They're rebooting it full CG without the human characters. But anyway.
Well, there are reports it's not a reboot.
Okay.
No.
It could just be a full sequel.
It could be. That'll be a discussion for another time. But anyway, overall, Pia, what is your overall feeling on the Night at the Museum?
I thought it was good. It's enjoyable. It's worth checking out. I don't know if I'd buy it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fun to
Did you
catch
do-
on TV and stuff and rent it, or
Okay.
family film for kids or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's cheaper to buy it, then by all means go right ahead,
Yeah.
because it's pretty cheap. But it's definitely worth checking out. You should
Okay.
go see
I
it.
mean, okay. Do you normally do numerical ratings, Pew, or
I do, but like they're just so generic, and I'll do that for video game.
okay.
But it's, like, just check it out.
Okay.
Like it doesn't fucking matter what I think of it anyway. Just check it out.
Okay. I agree. I agree. Go if you're looking for something fun to kill a night. Something fun that is an enjoyable movie. You can watch it with the whole family. It's got some great actors in it. There'll be some laughs in there for the kids, some laughs in there for the adults. Great actors, and just overall a warm feeling that you'll enjoy. Go check out this movie. It's a great movie. It's available on DVD, as Mole said. Get it on Amazon. Go check your local DVD store. It's around. You can find it. Thank you, two, for joining me for this review. Went a little longer than I expected, but thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
It was fun.
It was fun. Stay tuned next 1 week from today. That would be next Friday night, which happens to be the 23rd, for the record, when we will be doing a review of Night at the Museum 2: Battle for the Smithsonian. I'm assuming you two will be around. I'd like to do that one a little bit earlier, if possible, so we have a little more time to talk about it. Because I already know I'm not working that night, so if we do it maybe an hour and a half earlier, that would be good.
Yeah, that'd
You're
be
still
fine.
live.
Let's shoot for the time Earth starts.
Okay, yeah, that gives plenty of time. Yeah, I'm good for that. Okay.
Yeah, because that's an hour after XGR time, which means Pew will be more awake. I'll probably be more awake, and yeah.
Okay, so stay tuned to next Friday night. When I say the day it was, I'm not going to. Next Friday night, on the night of January the 23rd, at approximately 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for the review of Night in the Museum: Battle for the Smithsonian, featuring the same three wonderful folks you see here. And 1 week after that, on the night of the 30th of January, again Friday, for our review of Night at the Museum: Secret of the Tomb, which Chris the Mole has not seen, but he's going to hang out and comment on what he hears about it and what he thinks as we go.
I said possibly with that, I don't know yet, but I might show up for that. Which means, next week I definitely will be here for TGIF, which is Thank Jeeps, It's Friday.
Boom! Reference. All right. So, with that, thank you for joining me. I'm James Phoenix. We'll see you next week for another look at this. Stay tuned for all the other awesome videos coming out on the X-Pound this month from literally everybody. We're running a new thing where we've planned out a lot of reviews in advance, and there'll be a lot more fresh content coming from all the shows here on the X-Pound. More regularly, more content. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time. Live! We'll see you next time.